We are not gonna die today.
What's up, everybody? Today we are talking about the new I Know What You Did Last Summer movie. The long-awaited legacy sequel that brings back some familiar faces, introduces new blood, and leans hard into those 90s slasher vibes we all grew up loving. I had fun with this one, but it's not without its issues, so let's get into it, spoiler-free, but I'll hint at a few things lightly. So let me start with the cast, because honestly I love these characters. Tyriq Withers stands out for me. He absolutely stole the show. He barely got any attention in the trailers, but just like that standout episode he did on Atlanta, the man knows how to light up the screen. His character wasn't some clueless victim either. He actually fights back, holds his own, and it's kind of funny in a believable horror setting, and I feel like we need more of that in slashers. I can't wait to see him and him later on this year. The rest of the supporting cast, they're solid. The final girl, if you could even call her that, worked for me. She's not the typical scream queen, but she holds it down in her own way. She's also kind of forgettable, though. I don't remember her name. And of course, we can't talk about this movie without mentioning the return of the GOAT, Freddie Prinze Jr. and Jennifer Love Hewitt. I really enjoyed seeing the two back, especially with the way their characters were woven into the story. There's also a really cool cameo that I won't spoil here, but it's definitely a fun surprise if you're a fan of the franchise in general. So, the plot, it's familiar, but not a carbon copy. We open with a girl coming back to her town after being away, I think from college. I don't know if they really said. And she's attending an engagement party for her two friends, the one played by Madeline Klein and the other one by Tyriq Withers, who are now engaged. And that night, things take a dark turn in a way that echoes the original. And there's a late night accident, a pier, a secret cover-up, sounded very familiar. And then a year later, the guilt is still there, but now Madeline Klein's character is married, and there's a new husband. And then, as we see from the trailer, he ends up getting killed, and that event sets up the mystery that puts the fear in motion. And it isn't long before people start realizing someone knows what they did last summer. And that's when our OG cast members start getting involved. Now, I really like the vibe of this one. It feels like a 90s slasher, from the lighting, to the pacing, to the music cues. It's moody, it's tense, and the Fisherman killer is actually a total upgrade from the original. This dude stomps like Michael Myers. You hear his boots, and it's kind of scary. He's more of a legit presence now, and it works so well. And the kills, they actually go there. Some are straight up gory, and while they're not super creative or memorable necessarily, like there's no sleeping bag kill, for example, from Friday the 13th, they're still satisfying. Now, here is where things get a bit shaky. This movie tries way too hard to be Scream, even with the twists. And yes, there's a twist. It feels like it's ripped straight from a Scream sequel, and for me, it didn't land. And I get there are connections from the original writer, for example, from the original film, but even so, while not being terrible, it feels like I was pulled, right up under the rug. Like, there are moments where, it doesn't make sense, and you'll be asking, why would that character do that? Also, slasher logic is still here in full force. There's a scene where all the characters are finally like, let's stay together, which is what I kept saying the whole time. And then literally minutes later, one of them's like, yeah, I'm going to go outside alone real quick. Why? Just stupid. Just, it's a horror movie, so. But at least they poke fun at stuff like that, because there's actually a hilarious moment where I laughed out loud, where Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character jokes about going to the Bahamas, and he basically shuts that idea down hard, because of course, if you remember, the sequel, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, came out in 1998, they went to the Bahamas, and it didn't go well, and it's very funny while making the sequel canon, because he literally looks at the character and he's like, for reasons I won't discuss, he was like, I would not do that. And so I thought that was very funny. Now, without spoiling anything, let's talk about the mid-credit scene. There is a mid-credit. I actually loved it. It ties everything together while also teasing what could come next. And it kind of felt earned in a way. Marvel could take notes here, and I feel like this is kind of how you do it right, while closing a story while also setting something up. So if you didn't see the mid-credit, the movie ends perfectly fine. But if you did, you're like, okay, One downside, though, for me is Jennifer Love Hewitt in general. She doesn't really get enough to do. She's here, she's great, but this isn't her movie anymore. Same with Freddie Prinze Jr. They're more like legacy characters now, so think like a Laurie in Halloween 2018, except Freddie definitely gets that title because Jennifer Love Hewitt's barely really in it. But anyways, so overall, I Know What You Did Last Summer 2025 is a solid slasher flick. It doesn't reinvent the wheel, it's not breaking any genre barriers, but it is fun. It's intense at times, and it captures the spirit of the original pretty well. I do wish the twist hit harder, and unfortunately it didn't for me. And I love smarter decisions from the characters, but the kills work of the legacy cast delivers, and the tone is right for me. So I'm going to give this one a 7.5 out of 10. I think it's definitely worth a watch if you're a fan of the franchise, or just want a good slasher night at the movies. But if you're not a fan of the franchise, this isn't going to make you one. But hey, those are just my thoughts, so let me know yours in the comments below. Did you love the twist, or were you like me and you didn't? Were you hyped to see Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. again? And how did you feel about this franchise going forward with some setups? If you liked the video, hit that like button, subscribe for more horror reviews, and as always, watch your back next summer.
Please stop! Someone.